So far away, Lucas, thoughts on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
I mean, that depends which one you mean, Karl.
Well, that's the thing no one remembers, is it? It's the Gene Wilder one is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and the Johnny Depp one is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is ostensibly a feel-good film where a young boy enters a competition to win 100 tons of chocolate and ends up being charged with the care of 1,400 tiny orange men. Despite the overtly saccharine nature of the film and plot, there is nonetheless an ever-present air of foreboding about almost everything you see, most of which is the direct result of Gene Wilder and his insistence that almost nothing be what it seems.
Right, so I remember, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and it is, it's quite a happy, peppy film on the face of it.
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of people watching this right now, maybe half remember the film. I remember it being quite a happy, sentimental film, maybe quite sweet, if people will forgive the pun. And while it is... Shut up, that's a great pun! And I'm not going to deny that at its core, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is a children's film. But if you watch it again, as an adult, with a more cynical, jaded 2020 eye, because fucking hell, I think a lot of people this year, because we're still recording this in 2020, folks, so I'm not sure when it's going up, you watch a lot of films that are very happy and sentimental and saccharine now and go, fuck you, nah, none of that. And what's the biggest fuck this moment you've had in 2020? Watching something that is ostensibly supposed to be quite happy and make you feel good. I think mine was Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
When I bought Disney Plus right at the start of lockdown to watch The Simpsons, and then it comes up recommended for you, and it starts showing me all these happy Disney movies. It's not the time, Disney Plus.
No,
Stop it.
I've had the complete opposite of it's now the time for Disney Plus so I can escape from fucking reality.
Well, something similar is a thing you mentioned to me where you now get uncomfortable watching certain TV shows and films where people are too close to one another.
Yeah, it's really weird. I'm watching, game shows or reality shows where people are meeting up and hugging each other and kissing each other on the cheek. I'm like, oh no.
And then you look at some shows now obviously being recorded during lockdown, like this one, and we're social distancing for this show. But you look at other ones, it's people are sat 2 foot away from each other during a pandemic and a lockdown. You look at it and go, but you don't live together. What is going on here? And it's it makes me so uncomfortable. There's a lot of YouTube channels that I've watched where people are sat next to each other. And it's I know you've recorded this during lockdown. It makes me so fucking uncomfortable. What? And I'm guessing there are precautions being taken, but you don't see them. And it makes me super fucking nervous to see this. I don't know, every show can do what we're doing, clearly. Other shows can't afford production values like these. Do you know what the worst bit is? When I was fucking sticking this to the wall, I tried to do the duct tape in one big row and missed. So now it looks like the green screen I've got behind me is curved and bent, and it's not. It's that the duct tape to hold it to the wall is wrong and off kilter, which I know is going to piss some people off, but it's the best I can do. I'm really sorry.
So yeah, we were talking about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and the kind of dark undertones that it has.
And I think the best way to represent those is you go to the impetus of the entire film's plot, which is a frenzied worldwide search for 5 golden tickets hidden inside of regular old Wonka bars. The first 4 of which, in the film's plot, if you'll remember, are won by some truly shitty kids. And Lucas, of those shit kids, which shit kid is the shittest shit kid? And why is it Veruca Salt?
I was going to say Veruca Salt. I want this!
Name your price.
She can't have one.
Who says I can't?
The man with a funny hat.
I want one.
Have you met someone like that? I'm guessing you have. We all have. We all know a person like that.
I've met plenty of kids like that, yeah.
I've met plenty of adults like that. I want this now. Give me this thing now. And speaking of media that hits different during a pandemic, seeing this tiny shit child scream, I want this now, give it to me right now, I don't care about the consequences. I've seen that when I go shopping for my milk. People refusing to wear a fucking mask, coming into the shop and screaming about it. It's I just want to go home and see my wife and kids. Put a fucking mask on when you're buying your lottery tickets, you bellend. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, man, it hits different.
It does.
The Veruca Salt character especially, it's just god damn it.
Yeah, because, one of them's just, greedy, one of them, games the system, but she's just Daddy, I want it now. It's like, "Ugh."
And you have that great shot of like, oh, he just hires hundreds and hundreds of people to just open Wonka bars. And it's like, oh,
an entire factory. He stops like working and just gets his entire factory to open fucking Wonka bars.
Because his daughter wants a lifetime supply of chocolate.
Yeah.
But bear in mind, that's the prize that you get. So he buys more chocolate than anybody could ever eat in a lifetime, so that his daughter can win a lifetime supply of chocolate.
That's actually true. I didn't think about that.
Obviously, yeah, you get the other thing of you get a trip to the chocolate factory, which no one has ever seen inside of, but still, we're going to open up an infinite supply of chocolate so that I can win an infinite supply of chocolate. It's like, fucking hell, how does that man run a business with like that being his idea to solve that problem? Why not just give his daughter the chocolate?
19,000 bars an hour they're shelling. 760,000 they've done so far.
You promised, Daddy. You promised I'd have it the very first day.
And moving on, for people out there wondering, well, Karl, what does it have to do with the film having dark undertones? If people recall the film's plot, you'll know that there is a fake fifth ticket found in Argentina. And Lucas, you have a screenshot from the scene in question in front of you right now, yes?
I do, yes.
And any thoughts about the guy pictured?
He's just like some fucking old guy.
Here is the most recent picture available of the Happy Finder, the man who has finally put an end to Wancomania for all the world.
Well, that's that.
And it's fair enough that you don't recognise him, but there are people out there who probably do, and that is Martin Bormann, aka Hitler's secretary. So there is a spot the Nazi joke in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and the director has talked about how, yeah, we put that joke in and no one got it, because it was a thing at the time that people thought a lot of the Nazi high command had escaped to and fled to Argentina. Specifically.
Right.
And in the film, they say, oh yeah, a man in Argentina found it, and they show a picture of a member of the Nazi party, and they were thinking, oh, people are going to like get a chuckle out of this one, and no one recognised who he was. And more subtle examples of these darker undertones come from Willy Wonka himself. For example, when the aforementioned Veruca Salt stands on top of the machine that checks if eggs are good or bad and falls down, it's like, she was a bad egg.
She was a bad egg.
And then her obviously distressed father asks Willy Wonka, my daughter just fell down a weird mystery hole. Where did she go? And Willy Wonka replies with complete nonchalance, well, to the furnace. And if folks at home, if you watch that scene again, or this clip we're about to show you, you'll notice that Willy Wonka actually smiles when he sees Veruca Salt's father shit his pants in fear at the thought his daughter is being burned alive.
Where did it lead to?
To the furnace.
The furnace!
Yeah, he's always got like that smug little grin on his face when the kids are meant to be dying.
Yes, every time he says something like, oh, well, the kid's gone to, like, what is it, the juicing room for Violet. It's like, oh, yeah, we're going to take us to the juicing room. And everyone's like, the fuck is the juicing room?
Would you roll the young lady down to the juicing room at once, please?
What for?
For squeezing. She has to be squeezed immediately before she explodes.
Or we're like, Augustus Gloop's caught in the pipes. And he's looking and he's going, oh, I told him not to go in there.
The suspense is terrible. He's gonna go this time. I hope it'll last.
Go on, boy, go on.
Oh,
like,
well, let's move on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, no problem here, let's move. It's like, no, like, a kid is in danger, help them. He's like, nah, the Oompa Loompas will help. They'll sing a song. They'll roll you around in your giant blueberry form. I'm not going to help, fuck you. And I think in the books they address this, and right at the very end, Charlie looks out of the window and he sees all the children. And I think like Mike TV is like 11 foot tall because they have to stretch him out. And so they're like, there's weird bits like that, and Violet is still blue, but she's no longer a giant blueberry shape. And if I remember correctly, Roald Dahl, the author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, fucking hated this movie because it deviated so much from his original book. And while I'm usually all on board with respecting the original creator's vision, no. This film is great, fuck you.
This film was still fucking great.
Yeah, and then and we can prove that by comparing it to the Johnny Depp one.
Oh god, it's so
that has
bad.
aged so poorly.
Good morning, Starshine. The Earth says hello.
Yeah, and like I weirdly saw part of that
Lucas,
movie recently, Karl.
Tell this story, because this is great.
I came into the living room where like Jenna was, working from home, and she'd put the movie on for Kate to watch in the background.
So for people at home who didn't follow that, Lucas's girlfriend put the new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie on for their dog. That's the level of quality. Like, as background noise for a dog, and even then you said you walked in and went, I don't even want this on as background noise.
No, I was just like, man, this film is so bad. I
don't even want it on as background noise. I'd rather sit in silence, and I think that sums it up. And one of the reasons why the original film is so timeless and why every line spoken by Willy Wonka can be taken one of two ways, that being that he is being completely serious, or that every word he's uttering is so dripping with sarcasm that the air around him is wet, is because Gene Wilder himself was like, that's what I want the character to be.
So what do you mean that he wanted the character to be like that?
Well, early in production, there were a lot of names put forward to play Willy Wonka, including people like Fred Astaire and every member of Monty Python. But the producers just wanted Gene Wilder. Like they said, like, Gene Wilder is the actor we have in mind to play Willy Wonka, but he doesn't want to do it. So they started throwing out other names, but still hoping that Gene Wilder would eventually relent and accept the role. And the story goes that Gene Wilder was eventually convinced to accept the role of Willy Wonka, a role he didn't want to do, on a single condition. And that condition was that his introductory scene would involve him doing a somersault in a bright purple pimp suit.
So that stupid, fall into a forward roll that he does, that's his sole condition that he wanted?
Yes, that was Gene Wilder's idea. And according to him, there's a great letter you can find that Gene Wilder wrote to the director explaining his reasoning. But I'm going to try and paraphrase that for people at home now. Where he talks about, look, the only way this film is going to work is if you can't trust Willy Wonka. You need, from moment one, the instant he appears on screen, to not know whether he's being serious or sarcastic. You need not to be able to trust this man. And the best way I can think to do that is if I walk out on a cane. Oh. And then at the last possible second, I'll appear to fall over. And then I'll go into a wonderful somersault and stand up. And from that point on, nobody will know whether or not to trust Willy Wonka. And that will make the film better. And I would argue that that decision was fucking genius, because as a result, every single line Willy Wonka speaks from that point onwards, as mentioned, can be read as him being either sarcastic or serious, and you don't know which one to think. Think, for example, the scene we just talked about, where he mentions that the pipe goes to the furnace. You can read that as him being either serious or sarcastic, and it's not clear which one is the right answer to that. And that's fucking awesome, because it means that the film has so much rewatchability. It's like one of those things, you can watch it, and depending on what mood you're in that day, it can either be this happy-go-lucky romp about a kid who inherits a chocolate factory, or it could be like a pseudo-horror film. Well, there is that famous edit someone did of they cut a trailer for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory like it was a horror movie, and it works. Admittedly, they do use a lot of shots from the pure imagination scene, but that's a given. That scene's fucking terrifying. So far away, Lucas, this recording session ran just a little bit too long because we were having fun talking about a great film that has a bad reboot or remake. So in that vein, Lucas, I know you've got some strong opinions on this. Bad reboot or remakes of films that are awesome?
Oh, I'm gonna pull out an entire genre of just the Disney live action fucking remakes.
Completely pointless.
Get rid.
They have no reason to exist. And we've talked about this on the channel a couple of times before, and my argument will always be, don't remake good movies or movies that did well, because the best you can hope for when remaking those movies is to be as good as the original. And that's it, because you can't top perfection, so why bother? Remake bad movies.
And for example, my sisters keep telling me oh, you should watch the Aladdin remake because it's pretty good. And I'm like, but that doesn't mean that it's better than the original, and there's no need.
I love that. In this day and age as well, with the amount of media and content people have access to, you should watch this because it's okay is not a good argument. So, go watch this thing. It's not bad. It's I keep getting stuff like that about TV shows I've not watched. Stuff like How I Met Your Mother, which I've only seen a couple of episodes for. And it's like, oh, you should watch the entire thing. It's not bad. The ending's pretty crap, but up until then, it's a pretty decent show. It's like, why would I invest like 50, 60 hours of my time in something that's pretty good?
Yeah, it's fine.
When there's like things that are incredible or like that I've not seen yet. It's so strange, isn't it? It's like with Disney Plus, we mentioned earlier, like they keep suggesting, oh yeah, why don't you watch all the Star Wars movies again? It's like, I don't want to. Stop it, no.
Jar Jar Karl.
I don't want to waste my time watching a solid 6 out of 10. And this might sound weird coming from me, for people who watch this channel a lot, and for you, Luke, because you know I like bad movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I should clarify that. When I say bad movies, I mean so bad they're good, not like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Right? Because the worst thing a piece of media can be, to me, is just middling or average. And I compare films like that to a glass of room temperature water when I don't even know I'm drinking it.
Mm.
At which point, why would I even bother if I have like a glass of cold water next to me?
The very least something should do is get a reaction out of you.
And when it can't even do that, it's basically worthless as a piece of content on media because it can't even get like a laugh out of me for being so bad. It's just fine. And you don't want that. That's never something you should settle for, not with all the content we have available today. I say that stood in front of this jury-rigged green screen. Please don't unsubscribe.